Once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you're now tuned into the Investor Show. As always, this is your gracious host, the Prince of Investor, coming to you guys, girls, you know, coming to you guys and girls live from the beautiful city and state of Denver, Colorado. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, comment, and share button. And as always, if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and make sure hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, hit that like, comment, and share button. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, here we go here. So we're gonna do an earnings review today. Earnings review of Uber and what's the other one we're gonna do today? DoorDash, and we're gonna do what's our other one we're gonna do here? DoorDash and Lyft. So let's share our screen here. Hold on, you know what? Since I am live, I'm a little early for people that want to catch me live because I gotta jump on a call right after this. So here we go. Let me put my banner up here just in case y'all want to call in and say hello. So there we go. Let's go. All right, there we go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to review the Uber earnings that came out recently. Make sure y'all got that on y'all screen. All right, here we go. Okay. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here, hold on. What's going on? Here we, man, it's real choppy today. Goodness gracious. Goodness, here we go. All right, now let's get back to it. Ain't nothing going to stop nothing. We're going to keep pushing straight through it. We're going to go through here. Let's go to our Chrome. And we're going to pull up our Uber earnings. We're going to share the screen here. Yep, we are good to go there. I'm going to blow this up. So Uber releases earnings, right? Second quarter earnings. This was on the first, like last week. Uber announces results for second quarter 2023. Gross bookings grew 16% year over year, 18%. So we're going to take a look at it, right? So Uber, this came out August 1st. Now we're in the swing of things. We had a little slow start there, but we're going to make this thing happen. So here we go. August 1st, Uber today announced its financial results. I had to come in a little early because I got a call here in a little bit. So let's take a look at Uber's earnings. Just take a look at the highlights. Then we're going to take a look at their earnings. So their gross bookings year over year grew 16% to 33 billion, or 18%. Their revenue grew 14% year over year. From this time last year to this year, you're talking about 19.2 billion, or 17%. Income from operations was $326 million, up $1 billion from year over year, and 588 million quarter over quarter, Q over Q. Net income attributed to Uber's technology was 394 million in net income, which included a 386 million benefit pre-tax preliminary due to net unrealized gains related to reevaluations of Uber equity investments. Adjusted EBITDA, this is the earnings before taxes, deamortization, whatever it is. Something, what's the D? I can't think on top of my head, but whatever. 19, pretty much almost $1 billion, 916 million, up 552 million from year over year. So right now we got net cash provided by operating activities with 1.2 billion, free cash flow, defined net cash flow, unrestricted cash with 5.5 billion. So you look at that EBITDA is 900. I'm sorry, I won't say 19. 916 million, almost $1 billion, pretty much doing very good numbers for Uber. So here next quarter, they're looking at their gross bookings to go from 34 billion to 35 billion. And they're looking for the adjusted EBITDA, which is the earnings before income taxes, amortization, and it's D something. I'm embarrassed right now, but okay. They're looking at, they go from 975 million to $1 billion, as you can see here. Now let's take a look at their finances, right? So in 2023, ended in the 3 months coming to June 30th in a quarter. This is a quarter, right? They did I think that's 2 million. I think they got that number in. Make sure I got that number. Okay, 2,000. They got to be 2 million. But they're looking at their gross bookings, their revenue, income loss from so they made 326 million versus last year where they lost 700 some million. So that's good. Adjusted EBITDA is going up, almost tripled. Free cash flow is doing good. So here's what this is their money maker, right? This is in millions. So this quarter, they made 16 billion off of mobility. This is giving out rides. They made 15 billion off of delivery, which is Uber. Keep that in mind. 1 quarter, $15 billion, because we're going to compare that to DoorDash. So I compare the mobility. Mobility is going to go against Lyft because Lyft gives rides. Uber also has delivery, which goes against DoorDash. Grubhub is delisted. It's not on the New York Stock Exchange. So DoorDash is the only one I could look at that's publicly traded. Then they made 1.2 billion off of Uber Freights, bringing in a total for this quarter in $33 billion in 1 quarter. So, okay, make sure I got that right. Expect percentages. Okay. So let's go down here and just look at their so they're talking about they gave rides, they gave delivery. So giving out rides is the number one making money, but Uber Eats is right behind it. So their biggest market is here in America. The second, they're all over the globe. The second largest market is Europe, Middle East, Africa, right? Latin America. Mobility gross bookings is 16 billion. The EBITDA, we already know that. Corporate. So let's go down to the hard numbers. This is where I'm looking for that balance sheet cash flow statement. So here go your assets. Your total current assets is $10 billion. So current assets, let's look at Uber's current assets. Uber's current assets is $10 billion as of June 30th, 2023. Then you look at, this is money they can convert to cash within 12 months. So in cash, they got 14.9. They got $4.9 billion. Short-term investments, 500 million. Restricted cash, 909 million. Accounts receivable, money that's due to them, 2.5 billion. Prepaid expenses, current assets, 1.6 billion. So $10 billion in current assets. Now you take the current, where's their current liabilities? That's going to come down. So their total assets is $34 billion. As of June 30th, 2023, it's a snapshot. $34 billion in current assets. Now let's take a look at their short-term liabilities. The total current liabilities, $8.6 billion. So you take that $10 billion and you minus out that $10 billion, and that's how you can tell the quick ratio of like how good a company is doing in the short term. So they got $2 billion after their current liabilities. If they was to pay off all their month that's due with the next 12 months versus the current assets they have right now. So the company's not too bad right there. So also you're looking at, so total assets is $34 billion. Total liability is $24 billion, bringing the net worth to, drum roll please, $9.4 billion. Uber has a net worth of $9.4 billion, taking all the assets, minus all those total liabilities. You're looking at their current assets minus their current liabilities, puts them in a pot of positive of $2 billion. And this is a company that's going for $40 right now. So you look at their revenue in 3 months. In the last 3 months in June, their revenue $9.2 billion versus last year in the last 3 months, they averaged about $8 billion. So they're up $1 billion. So last year, this quarter, they took a loss. You can see here, they took a loss of $700 million. Now they're up $326 million. So this is the finances. I know technically you can look at Uber's up about 70 something percent this year. It was 90 something percent, but they kind of got cut back after these earnings came out. When you know the way a stock react on earnings, that's all about people's interpretation of other people's finances. It's only good for if you're going to jump in and make a nice move. Sometimes people get happy about what you do. Sometimes people don't. If you look at that net cash flow, this time this time last year, they lost $2.6 billion. This year, they're up $394 million. Very good to see. So now we're taking a look at these numbers, right? Now, we know what Uber is doing. We know that, hey, they became positive. Good on you. What does that mean? What does that tell me? What can I go back and look at someone else and say, right? When I can go back and look at someone else and say, how is your competition doing? How are your competitors doing, right? So the first competitor we're going to look at, I don't want to look at Lyft anymore because I used to compare Uber and Lyft all the time. Lyft today is around $11 the last time I checked. Uber's $40, Lyft is $11. Uber at one time was $80. Lyft was at 80 something dollars. You know, that people may find it hard to believe now, but it was at $80. Now it has dropped down to $10. Its finances are not really even worth mentioning in compare to Uber. They're not even neck to neck. The reason why they were kind of going tick for tack, they were going tick for tack all the way up until the pandemic. Once the pandemic happened, you seen a significant drawback from Lyft, and you seen a significant push in Uber because nobody was getting rides with Lyft, but people had pivoted to Uber Eats. So Uber Eats made a lot of money during that pandemic. It pushed itself and left Lyft back in the dust. Now the next stuff I'm looking at is DoorDash. Everybody say DoorDash. Okay. So now let's get to DoorDash. I'm talking about everybody say DoorDash. Oh my goodness, I'm acting like I'm talking to, when I go out and speak with kids and stuff. But now I'm going to bring up DoorDash. Here's a look into DoorDash's earnings. I think they released theirs a couple weeks ago, July 13th. Nope, I got the wrong one. I don't want to pull that one up. Give me 1 second here. Got their tab pulled up. Where are we at? Here's DoorDash. Now, we talked about Uber had a network of $9 billion, right? We talked about the current assets was $2 billion. So here's DoorDash, a company that's trading for $80, almost twice the price of Uber. Let's take a look at their finances. So their total current assets is $4.7 billion in current assets. Let's take a look at the total. Current assets. Now let's take a look at the current liabilities is $3 billion. So They are at 1.7 billion, not too far from Uber when it comes to their current short-term money. Now, when you take a look at their total assets is $9.7 billion. Not too shabby. $9.7 billion. And you look at their total liabilities, $3 billion. So Uber has a network or a total shareholders equity of $7.7 billion. So total shareholders equity is $6.7 billion, right? And I got that from taking their total assets of 9.7 to track that their total liabilities of $3 billion, $3 billion 21. So that is, we said that number was what now? Make sure I got it right. 6.7 is the shareholders equity. Uber, let's go back and see what Uber's shareholders equity was. This is the network of the company. I had to switch over to my screen real quick, so y'all give me a second to bounce back. Uber is 10 billion, 9, what is it? Total, okay, 8 billion. Total equity, they have a total equity of 8 billion, and DoorDash has a total billion of 6 billion. So Uber has a network of 8 billion. DoorDash has a network of 6 billion around about the same time. So the difference is Uber is trading for $44. DoorDash is trading for 80 something dollars, right? Let me look up the exact price of DoorDash today. What's the exact price of DoorDash as we speak? Y'all give me 1 second. I think it was around 80 something, 70 something dollars. $83. So DoorDash is 83, and this is what we're seeing right now, right? I thought mine. All right. So right there, so you look at the total network, you got a total big difference there. You look at the revenue. They have a revenue. They made $2 billion last year. And, they have a revenue of $2 billion. Look how much money they're making. Versus you can look at Uber revenue is at how much? $9 billion. So Uber is making way more money. Now, when you look at this, income from losses, look at that loss from operation. Lyft is reporting a $200 million loss. Uber's reporting $300 million gain. Right? $200 million loss. So they brought in $2.1 billion. By the time they paid all their expenses was $2.3 billion. They took a loss of $200 million. Ending in June 30th, right? So loss before taxes. So when you look at that, just a quick look at their stuff. You look at their cash flow. You look at the money they're bringing in. Uber, I'm not saying Uber's the best company in the world, but when you look at Uber compared to its competitors, it's no competition, right? Hey, how you doing, Miss Beverly? Shout out to Miss Beverly. I think Miss Beverly's out of St. Louis. I think she's out of St. Louis, if I'm not mistaken. How you doing? So you're seeing, we used to compare Uber and Lyft all the time. We used to say, oh, Uber, Lyft, but Lyft is not even worth mentioning no more. It's $10 a share. Company is struggling. I mean, the numbers are single digits because it only give rides. Once that pandemic hit, it separated Uber and Lyft. It's not even competition anymore. So I'm like, okay, who else is on the market that's competitor? You got DoorDash trading for $80, twice the price of Uber. Why are you trading twice the price? You're not even making the money. Remember, $15 billion is what Uber made. I mean, Uber Eats, right? They haven't even made. Oh, here you go, Miss Beverly. She said, doing great. Thank you. Yes, St. Louis in the building. How you doing? Glad to see you. Glad to see you. Got a good memory. I haven't seen you in a little while, but I definitely got a good memory. So, yes, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, it's not about being the best. You have to be the best in your space. Who else is competing with Uber? If Lyft can't compete with them, DoorDash Can't compete with them financially. Who else is out there? For $44, you got a company network, $9 billion, dominating their space, dominating their market. DoorDash is not even competing with Uber Eats. Lyft is definitely not competing with Uber Rides. Which company would you like to own? I'm not endorsing Uber. This is not financial advice. Seek the advice of your financial advisor to see if it's a good fit for you, or your tax professional to see if it's a good fit for you. But we're just doing a review, and I'm looking at the competition. Who else is out there? If y'all know somebody, DM me, text me, tell me something so I can look into them to see if there's any competition, because there's not. Right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have to go. I have to go jump into a meeting. Hopefully, y'all got something out of this. Into the next video, podcast, cartoon, or whatever else crazy y'all see me doing around the globe. Y'all already know my name is Prince Dykes. Peace. Be safe. I'm out. And thank you.